Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
So, what do you think?
She sounds good. Kind of intense about this Thanksgiving thing.
I think perhaps she's a little lonely, but I meant about the murder.
Whatever killed the woman in the museum, that's probably the danger.
Yeah, well, this danger, your friend has some ominous vision about Buffy. It's all terribly vague. I mean, there are other things happening on this campus.
You know, maybe I'm wrong, but I gotta try something. I can't just keep watching.
You know, I'm glad that you're watching out for her, but I feel I should remind you that she's not helpless and it's not your job to keep her safe.
It's not yours anymore either. Are you gonna walk away?
And welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, giving our reviews, our reactions. We're your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance Tucker.
Oh, one of the rare last name episodes.
Yeah, at the end of the whole series, we're going to be like, hey, which episodes did Vance say his full name?
Is there a through line?
And whoever can answer fastest, but when... We don't know yet.
A shout out. Today we're talking about season 4, episode 8, titled Pangs, directed by Michael Lang, written by Jane Espenson. Original air date November 23rd, 1999, to an audience of 5.9 million people. Before we get into the episode, everybody, we gotta plug some shit. All right, yeah. We got a Patreon. We're doing Boys Watching Angel in there. It really plays into what's going on here.
Yeah, this is a crossover episode where I can't believe that Buffy the Vampire Slayer was able to get the star of Angel to guest star on their show. I don't know how they got it. I don't know how they pulled it off.
So yeah, this is a crossover for Buffy. It's a crossover for Angel. So if you want to be a completionist?
Yeah, a complete completionist.
You want to get the whole story, you gotta subscribe to that Patreon, everybody. We also have a movie review of the Christmas movie Scrooged up on there. And we had a great time reviewing that movie. It's well worth it. Well worth it.
I think it might be one of our best podcasts ever.
And we've done hundreds of episodes, everybody.
And the Scrooge one is worth a listen. Watch the movie, listen to it. Mm-hmm. It's definitely gonna give you all your holiday cheer.
And also, before we talk
how can they get to that Patreon?
Oh, yeah, it's patreon.com/boyswatchingbuffy. And if you're too lazy to type all that out, there is a link in the show notes. So you can just click 2 things and then boom, you're there, baby. Yep. I'm going to be real with you. I don't really like this episode, Vance.
This episode has some fun moments. They tried to have their maze and eat it too. That's the thing. They tried to. And
yeah, it's such a weird, like the messaging in it is weird.
Yeah.
I think the crossover element is weird. I just think so much of this is weird, and I just don't think a lot of it works.
A little bit of the pickup from the last episode of Angel, which you've had to subscribe to know, is that Doyle, his buddy, gets visions, and he got a vision of Buffy, and he's like, Angel, she's in trouble.
Yeah.
And is she in that much trouble?
That's exactly. So you brought that point up on our Angel podcast. And if you don't know anything about the show Angel, you know, like Vance said, he's got a buddy named Doyle who has visions of people in danger, and Angel has to go and help them. So at the end of the last episode of Angel, he had a vision of Buffy. And the vision that he has of Buffy is actually how this episode kind of starts. Mm-hmm. After a recap of who Riley is and the Commandos, and a recap of, Spike being back in town. So this episode opens up with a dude like in a Letterman jacket walking alone at night, like in the bushes. Like as soon as I saw this and like saw all of the foliage, like it finally struck me, and I was like, where could these people that are always walking in bushes like be heading? Like what path are they taking?
It's like a clearing in a field to nowhere. Yeah.
But he's walking alone at night, and he hears some rustling, and it's Buffy, and she shows up, and the guy's like, "Oh, hey, sorry, you scared me." And then Buffy just punches this seemingly normal dude right in the face, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And she's like, "Look, I'm the Vampire Slayer. I know who you are. I know you're a vampire. Don't try and fool me." And then the guy just shakes his face, and he becomes a vampire. And then they fight for
Well, he says things were so much better here before you came.
Yeah.
And like, how long has this dude been a vampire? Like, aren't Slayers always... She's been around for 3 years. Is he complaining about that? Like, I don't even know what that line is.
I don't know. But she fights him, and, she slays him pretty quickly. Yeah. And this is the exact vision that Doyle has in the episode of Angel, is her fighting this guy. Mm-hmm. Which is just a run-of-the-mill nobody vampire. Mm-hmm. And she, she neutralizes the threat immediately in the first 5 minutes of the episode. And she's like, okay, that was easy. Starts walking away. And from the bushes emerges Angel, who is watching all of this happen. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, why did Doyle have this vision? And I think in the episode of... when we reviewed that episode of Angel, you brought up like Doyle would have visions of Buffy all the fucking time if like this is the low level bullshit that he's getting visions about.
I think that was the point that you actually brought up. Like, but yeah, like I'm trying to think. He didn't have a vision of her when she was fighting Sunday, or no vision of like, hey, Parker's about to screw her over.
Or that Spike is back.
Yes, right. The Spike's after her. It's just interesting that this is what his...
And this is why I didn't like the crossover. It feels so shoehorned in. It was like Angel's ratings were doing bad or something, and they were like, we gotta figure out a fucking way. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't add up.
Even though, as you brought up, their numbers have been almost better.
Yeah, some of Angel's episodes do better, some of Buffy's do better, but they're like comparable.
Yeah.
But it just felt forced.
It's weird that he has to be a part of, like, they could have done more with the theme of this episode and having someone else come back to a place to take it over to save people. There's something about the messaging of this. This is a Thanksgiving episode, everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll get to the Christmas episode after Christmas.
Yeah. After Christmas is over.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Angel's watching over Buffy as she fought this vampire, and then he looks and he's like, oh, that's my girl. Anywho,
he should have been like, she looks like she's doing fine. I can go back to
LA.
and
just go back to LA. So he's like pissed off at Doyle. Like, what the fuck was it? I just saw her. She beat him up in like fucking 2 seconds. Yeah. So then we have the opening song, and then we come back, and boy, oh boy, there is a dean of the college giving a speech. They're opening a new anthropology facility.
Is she the dean? I think the
guy's the dean.
Oh, the guy's the dean, but the
lady is the anthropology head.
Yeah.
But then we go over to who's watching this speech, and it is fashion corner moment for Joe here. Mm-hmm. So we got Anya, we got Buffy, and we got Willow. Willow, of all people, doing fine. She's got like a paisley shirt on. It looks whatever. It's fine. Anya's got on these denim like quilt pants on, and it's a bunch of different... it's like a Harlequin pattern, and it's a bunch of different fabrics. And who designed this? And it barely matches the shirt that she's wearing, but like the jeans were just too much to look at. It was so much. And then over to her right is Buffy, who's wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah, I don't know. And they're also standing next to a tree. The staging of it felt really weird. And there's some shots where like, I don't think they were there the same day because they have like reverse angles on Anya. And it's like over the shoulder of like stand-ins or something. I don't know. It seemed a little awkward. But
I mean, is this like a foreshadowing with Buffy and the cowboy hat for like, you know, the Cowboys and Native American thing?
Oh, probably.
Right.
Is that... Yeah, they're just throwing a lot of headgear on her this season.
Dude, they're trying. They're throwing a lot at the wall and not a lot of sticking. You know?
Is that cowboy guy dead? The cowboy vampire?
Oh, the cowboy vampire? I think he got away.
I know the brother got eaten by the...
Yeah. But the last we saw him was Slayer Fest.
Yeah.
Did he die in Slayer Fest?
I think Cordelia scared him and he ran away. So he's still out there somewhere.
Well,
yeah.
Buffy stole his hat, and it looks so weird. It looks so weird. It's like they're not standing in the sun; they're in the shade. Mm-hmm. So it's not like she's using it as a shade. Like, yeah. Anyway, so just had to touch on that.
I mean, Anya's great in this scene, though.
Yeah, Anya's great because she's there to gawk at Xander, who is now doing like construction stuff. And they're doing like a groundbreaking for a new facility that's supposed to be built for the anthropology department. And Anya's there and she's like, why isn't Xander I came here to watch Xander dig, and he's so hot and he's so muscly and he's going to get sweaty if he keeps digging, and I can't wait to watch him dig.
I'm imagining having sex with him right now.
Yeah. And Buffy and Willow are like, geez, dude, you got a grip.
Yeah.
And then like the anthropology department head does the ceremonial like first dig, and she's like, that's not Xander.
Yeah.
Xander's supposed to be doing the digging.
That's not rippling.
Yeah, you call that rippling?
Like Anya is in it.
Yeah, man. She's on to it.
Yeah.
And then Buffy and Willow have this weird, so it's around Thanksgiving, and Buffy is feeling sad because her mom is going to her aunt's house for Thanksgiving or something, and Buffy's not going, and she's going to be home alone.
Why is Buffy not going?
I don't know. I don't know why she can't go.
Okay. Yeah. At least they made some excuse, as opposed to like when you're watching like Friends or something and you're like, yo, you guys have multiple family members. Why never? And they all live in New York.
Here's what I think it is, Vance. I think the mom didn't want to make the trek 5 miles away to Sunnydale.
To pick her up on the
Buffy.
way.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Even the military guys get Thanksgiving off.
I know.
Somehow.
So Buffy's like sad about that, and then Willow's like, well, you know, Thanksgiving's all a sham anyway. It's a bunch of bullshit. And Buffy's like, wow, okay, you're sounding like your mom. And then Willow's like, yeah, I mean, sure, good point. But my mom is right about this. Like, it's not a Thanksgiving thing. We've all had the wool pulled over our eyes about this. And it's like, we're celebrating genocide. Mm-hmm. A bunch of, fucking white people came out to this country and exterminated the Native Americans, and it's not right. And we shouldn't be celebrating this or Columbus Day, which we don't really do anymore.
Yeah. The job was like, hey, we'll make you come in on another Monday.
Exactly.
I love that Anya says, I do like a ritual sacrifice. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, you slaughter an animal and kill it to celebrate a momentous occasion. That's what the turkey is. I'm like,
ritual sacrifice.
Yeah. I was like, she's just like really like flat and matter of fact and blunt. And I kind of love it. It's really fun.
Yeah. And it makes sense when you think about it, like from her perspective, like, oh shit. Wow. We really do that.
Yeah.
And it is a specific bird every year.
Yes. And then we pardon one.
Yeah, pardon one. So then the digging starts, and Xander takes like 2 digs, and then he just falls into a sinkhole, basically.
Dude, that ground is not solid at all, because that hole is massive.
Yeah. So he falls, and he also falls like 15 feet.
He would have broken something.
Broken so much.
Yeah.
Both of his ankles, his legs. We would have had a real reason for why he was sitting down in that chair when we were confused.
Yeah.
He would have been hurt as a motherfucker. So what happens is he falls down through the hole, and then he sees like some crosses and stuff. And he's like, "Where the hell am I?" He starts wandering around in this thing, and it's very, very spooky. Mm-hmm. So then we cut to Angel stalking Buffy from the bushes. He's looking up at her dorm room, mm-hmm. and Buffy is like in her dorm, and she's like, "I don't know, I feel like I'm being watched," and she's like staring out the window, mm-hmm. and Willow's like, "Oh, better get away from that window." And then they have another thing about like Buffy being like, "Well, don't you think it'd be nice if we had a Thanksgiving, all genocide aside and everything like that?"
Sham like, with the yams.
Yeah. And Willow's like, you know where I stand on this, Buffy. I don't think it's a good thing. It sucks. It's bad. But, and then she sees how sad Buffy is about not spending time with her family. She's like, but maybe I could make an exception just this year.
I wonder if she ever celebrated a thing. I guess her mom never celebrates Thanksgiving for Willow. But Willow also has a Dingoes poster on mm-hmm. her wall, which seems strange considering last episode she heard a Dingoes song and it made her like weepy.
Yeah.
Yet she has a poster up of it.
Set dressing people.
Yeah, they just said the poster looked kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, I mean the Dingoes sounded like a good band.
Yeah. Buffy goes on to say that she wants to cook Thanksgiving dinner. And I was like, Buffy can't cook.
No
way Buffy knows how to cook.
Exactly. She's like, I mean, maybe I think I could do it in theory.
I was like, that's
that's not good. But then this is where they also talk about like the hole that Xander fell through was actually like the college is built on top of an old mission.
Yeah.
Which is like a big part of California's history. If you don't know, there's a bunch of like Spanish missions up and down
missions
the coast.
Are essentially churches in a way.
Yeah, yeah. And Buffy's like, we could invite Anya, and Willow's like, how about we not?
I wrote a note down after the first scene. I'm like, why is Willow not more jealous? Because she used to love Xander.
Mm-hmm.
And like now she got this girl that's like crazy for it. Like you would think she'd be like, I don't like it. And then they kind of hint towards it here. And I was like, okay, that's enough. I needed a little bit of like, she wouldn't want to be around a girl that fawns over Xander.
Yeah, but I don't know why, because she was like fawning over Oz. She was all about Oz, you know?
Yeah, but that was fine. She was all about Oz. But then as soon as Oz got like Cordelia, she was pissed.
Oh, Xander got Cordelia, you mean?
Yeah. Once Xander got Cordelia, Willow was like, remember, she's crying in the bathroom. She was crying in the bathroom. She was with Oz.
Oh no, that was when he fucked Faith, though.
Oh, so that was even after. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. She was way down the line with Oz at that point too.
Yeah, you know what?
So I think she should have. I think she still has to feel like she has. She will never fully get over Xander though. Like Xander's a childhood love.
Another example of people saying that Xander's like a possessive asshole, but then like Willow acts like this and nobody says that she's a possessive asshole, you know? Is this kind of like the mother's thing?
Who says that Xander's a possessive asshole?
People that hate Xander.
Possessive of who?
Buffy.
Oh, he's given up on the Buffy thing a lot. It seems like he really dropped the Buffy.
He was like possessive of Willow too, I guess.
He was like, when she started dating Oz, he was like, what? Because they have that they've like their childhood sweetheart lovers kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
This kind of, is it more like a mother being like, no one's good enough for my baby boy?
It makes it creepy when you say it like that, but sure. Yeah, it's just like they're like no one's good enough for him. But I feel like Willow in her spot where like Oz is left and seeing Xander and seeing another hot girl like onto him would be like something.
Here's the thing is like I feel like Xander also even kind of gave up on the Willow thing too, because like he and Oz were boys. Like Willow still has this like thing about not liking Anya, but you know, like
I'm saying it's small. Small, and I thought they just needed to like hint at it, and I think they did a good job of just hinting at it like lightly, because I was like, they has to like this is Anya's talking about fantasizing having sex with them, and that is not how Buffy and Willow talk.
yeah, that's not how anyone talks.
Yeah, exactly. So like hearing that must be like, ugh.
Yeah. Fucking Anya should hook up with that guy Forrest, Riley's friend from Commando Room. They can just have lewd, crude conversations together.
I don't think she'd like Forrest at all.
She'd get called to curse Forrest.
She'd be like, "It's time for me to go back to being a man-hating demon now because I want Forrest to pay." What if she did something to Parker? That would have been. One of my random things is I wish Parker would have hooked up with Kathy in an alternate universe, the old roommate. That would have been so funny if she like kept, because Kathy could still be a character in the show and then send Parker back with the demon. Yes. That would be so funny.
That would have been awesome. Okay.
We're still at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, we really, really are. So much happens. So Spike's wandering around alone in the bushes because, as we saw last episode, he cannot feed. He's got like a blanket draped around him, like a babushka. He's hungry, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so freaking hungry." Then we see Riley and his bros are on patrol, and they're looking for Spike, and nothing really of consequence happens.
No mask on, just face paint.
Yeah, they got camouflage face paint now. Yeah.
Only Riley does. I don't think Forrest does.
Well, yeah, I mean,
because black just blends right into foliage.
Exactly. He's gonna have to paint his teeth.
They're just like, oh, you don't need we don't need a name for you. No black soldiers have ever worn camouflage. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Black football players never used the eye black.
No, of course not. Why would they?
Yeah.
So then Anya goes to see Xander, and Xander is looking sick. He's not looking good. He's pale. He's sweaty, and Anya's like, "Oh man, I'm going to take care of you." And Xander is like, "I got to go to work. I don't have time to be sick." And she's like, "You have all the time in the world to be sick. Sit your little patoot down, mister. I'm going to take care of you. I know how to, I'm a man-hating demon. I used to cause all kinds of curses and sicknesses on men all the time. I know what this is. So take off your shirt, take off your pants." And then Xander is like, "You're a really good girlfriend."
Strange. He says strange girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. And Anya's like, "Did you just say I'm your girlfriend?" And Xander's like, "Fuck."
He's like, "I'm delirious."
Yeah. So there's that thing developing. Then we go back to the mission, the underground mission, and a green fog has been released from the mission. And it goes up into the atmosphere. It travels out of the mission to above ground. And then we go to the anthropology lady looking through a bunch of relics or something. And she wants to investigate the mission. She's on the phone with the dean being like, "Well, we'll have to find another place to build the new facility. But I mean, this is a great discovery for anthropology and all this bullshit." Then the green fog comes into her room where she has a bunch of old relic weapons, apparently. The green fog surrounds this one knife, and it turns into a live Native American man. It grabs the knife from the relics cabinet and slits this lady's throat.
Which is almost the most brutal death I think we've seen in this show.
Yeah, we see it happen. Like the guy like slits her throat.
It's just like, yeah, we haven't seen anything so like we've seen biting, like a vampire bites a neck. We've seen neck snaps, but like, yeah, I don't know, something like him just slitting her throat and her just being a straight up innocent. Well, that was like, all right.
Yeah, like she was just like, wow, this is fascinating. I want to investigate this and get to the bottom. And then like,
yeah,
like. Wow, dude. Like they usually have some kind of clever way to hide it.
Yeah. It's like, or it's like kind of like you die or you find them dead. And she's like, oh, and you cut to it and she's on the floor or something. But they kind of show them go in. You know.
So then it is on to Buffy and Willow investigating this murder. They're on a crime scene.
And here was one of my first questions. Why are they investigating this murder that seems like a regular murder?
I mean,
like nothing mystical. Like, is there regular crime in Sunnydale?
I think that the thing that caused them to want to investigate is because the lady was missing an ear. And then Willow goes on this whole rant about like maybe it could be witches because there's a lot of spells that require ears.
Yo, she's in it deep, man.
Yeah. But yeah, they're investigating. They're trying to figure it out. They see which weapon was missing, and it is an ancient Chumash is the name of the tribe, I think. Knife. And Willow or somebody's like, oh, they used to live in these areas and blah, blah, blah. Mm. But the big thing is that the lady was missing an ear. Mm-hmm. So then Buffy goes to Giles' place and she's telling Giles about the murder and also that she's going to have Thanksgiving at his house. Okay. He's like, wait a minute. How the fuck did you rook me into this?
Yeah.
How did you hook me into this?
She gives a spiel about like, oh, it's a patriarchy and you have to do it. You have to be the man. Like, I was like, what? And then he's like, you just want to stick me with the cleanup afterwards. And then she's like, I got to go pick up some more stuff.
So about that murder, though, right? So yeah, Giles is like, all right, I'll do some research about this Chumash tribe and see what they were up to and if there's any kind of ancient curses or anything like that they have going on. And then Buffy's like, all right, well, I'm going to go get some more supplies for this Thanksgiving dinner. I'll talk to you later. Then Buffy leaves. And then Angel just pops out from around the corner. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, it's good to see Buffy. And Giles is like, see, she's doing fine. I think you can leave now. And then Angel's like, well, do we know that she's fine? Because what's up with this Chumash stuff? And Giles is like, I don't fucking know yet, dude. I haven't done my research.
And he's like, and then Angel's like, then Giles is like, hey, it's not your job to like watch over her anymore. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, it's not your job either, Giles, but is that going to stop you? And they're like, damn it, we're obsessed with this Slayer.
Yeah. Angel hit him with that Uno reverse, baby.
Uno reverse, drawer 4.
But Giles doesn't like that he's lying to Buffy and keeping Angel a secret. And Angel's like, don't worry. I'm going to go investigate the mission. Or somebody's like, I suspect that it has something to do with the mission. Giles is going to research the mission and the tribe. Angel's going to go watch over Buffy. And that is where we leave that scene. So then Spike is still wandering around the city in his little babushka. And he happens upon a vampire gang who are feasting on a guy. And he looks at them from this window. And he's like, I remember when I used to be able to eat people. Those were the days.
It is one of the funniest. Like, it's as if like you're homeless and you're looking in and watching someone have a nice lavish dinner.
Yeah.
A family dinner. It's like that shot. But with them
very
like
fun.
Killing a person.
So Buffy and Willow are shopping and they get some more ingredients for Buffy's good old-fashioned home Thanksgiving. And Willow's like, do you even know how to cook? And Buffy's like, I think I can do it. I've eaten before.
Willow also has on a peace shirt sweater here. That's all.
Yeah. Well, because Willow's peacekeeper. She hates Thanksgiving. She thinks it's all a sham. She hates what we've done to the Native Americans.
Willow's a Native American ally.
Yeah. And Riley runs into them, and Willow's like, oh, it's you and Riley, huh? I'm going to go into the espresso pump. I'll leave you two be here. Yeah. And I feel like if anyone did that to me in real life, like, I would know what's up. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, we didn't say this last episode, but when he comes to the bench to like when Buffy's sitting on the bench and he like comes over there to try to convince her to go home, she pulls out a stake and is about to stake him when he's walking up to her. Yeah. And he doesn't go, what the fuck was that? Yeah. Like, I mean, clearly. There should have been a joke there of like, it could have been a quick one-liner of like, well, most girls use pepper spray. Yeah. Boom. That's it. That's all you need. But he knows vampires exist. He knows when stakes to the heart kill him. Yep. He sees a girl that has that. You're a military soldier guy. Like, you should know. Yeah. But, dude, well, it's like Buffy should know that Willow's trying to set those two up at this point, too. But she's like, duh. Also, Willow's a terrible best friend. Like, if she should have just alerted Buffy to like, hey, Riley, he has a crush on you. What do you think about that, Riley? She'd be always talking about that Riley guy and be like, hey, Riley's got a crush on you. Yeah, Willow would always be like, what do you think of Riley? Like, she loves that stuff. Yes. She loves that stuff. But this is a weird scene because when she leaves to go into the espresso pump, the camera follows her. Mm-hmm. Which, just cinematic language, you're like, oh, something's about to happen. Yeah. Because I'm like, why are we following her inside? Well, something that does happen is that Willow immediately runs into Angel, like bumps into him, like chest first. And Angel does the worst job of covering her mouth I've ever seen on screen. Yeah. Like, it's like, if you watch it, his hand doesn't really get a chance to go over her mouth, that he's like, it's at an awkward angle. Yeah. And he's like, shh. And Willow's like, Angel, what are you doing? Oh, you're evil again. Yeah. He's like, you're evil again. You're here to kill us. He's like, no, I'm not evil. I'm just here because my buddy Doyle, he had a vision that Buffy's in danger, and I'm here watching over her. And Willow's like, well, why don't you fucking just come out in the public? And he's like, well, it's a complicated thing. I don't want her to see me and get all heartbroken and have a bunch of questions. We'll just lead to more questions. And Willow's like, okay. Well, how can I help you? And he's like, well, I got a question, actually. Who the fuck is that guy that Buffy's talking to right now, huh? Who's that guy? Yeah. And then Willow's like, man, you should have met fucking Parker. Oh, Angel, don't worry about it. She's over you, bro. And Willow goes on a little rant that's more about her and Oz. Wait, and then Willow asks, hey, is it true you're actually working with Cordelia? And he's like, I don't have time to talk about personal stuff. I'm like, give her that much, man. Yeah. Give her that. Like, that's, like, I actually want to know what your thoughts are on working with Cordelia. Yeah, it's not good. It can't be good. Yeah. But then we cut back to Riley and Buffy talking, and Riley's going back home for Thanksgiving. Buffy invited him to her Thanksgiving, but he can't go because, he's got to go hang out with the dogs in Iowa, and we got to go after dinner. We all go sit by the creek. And they deep dive Iowa. Like, he talks about a certain place in Iowa, and like, he's like, oh, yeah, it's a little place in Iowa, and he like names it. Like, yeah, it's great. And it's like, she doesn't know. She's never left California. Well, dude, when he's like, I'm going back to Iowa, she's like, that's one of the ones that's not on the West Coast, or right? And that's so true, though. Yeah. Like, because when I tell people that had grew up here that I'm from Baltimore, they have no idea. Like, a lot of people out here have no idea where Baltimore is. Yeah, I mean, it's a big country. I don't understand. Like, I think it's crazy when people are like, oh, you don't know anything outside of, like, the U.S. I'm like, I don't know stuff in the U.S. Like, it's not a slam on your countries. We just don't know anything. I think it's like, it's a big enough city. Like, there have been shows that take place, movies that take place in Baltimore, Yeah, but it's like, once you, like, think about the state of Illinois. When you think of Illinois, you think of Chicago. Yes. But if somebody was I'm from Chicago, other places, but there's so many other places in Illinois. If you named one other city in Illinois, you'd be like, oh, okay. But Baltimore is the big city in Maryland. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Chicago, Illinois. I feel like if it has a sports team, you should know it.
Like you should know all about Tampa Bay.
Yes, Florida. That's not even the capital.
Seattle, Oklahoma City. You should know about Oklahoma City.
You should know it's in Oklahoma. I mean, come on, you're not freaking.
I'm trying to think of a bunch of teams.
The tricky one, Kansas City, Missouri. Trump made that mistake.
Or the New York Giants that play in Jersey.
That play in New Jersey.
And the Jets, yeah. Oh,
welcome to Joe and Vance's sports podcast, everybody.
Who do you think's making the playoffs?
That's all I'm saying is like it's a major city. Like I've talked to people and was like, yeah, I'm from Baltimore, and they're like, is that in Connecticut? I'm like, fucking what?
Well, you do hang out with a bunch of idiots though, so we can't really judge your. You do surround yourself with people. Joe's the smartest person in the room, and he doesn't understand why. And I'm like, all right.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Way off topic. So then we go to Harmony in her cave.
I was going to say something about the actual actor that plays Riley is like from Pennsylvania and is like living a really modest lifestyle right now.
Really?
I checked out his Instagram. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, probably because of all the hate that he got from this role.
He's doing great.
Seems like he's not a popular character. Like all of our slander about Riley has been like, no, you guys, yeah. He sucks.
I got nothing against the guy as a person. So
no, I don't have anything against the guy as a person.
It's a chemistry. It's a chemistry issue.
He's just a boring milquetoast dude.
Yeah. I wonder why they went with that. Did they do that because Spike is so like charismatic?
I think it's because maybe it's to throw off the scent that Riley is the commando guy.
Yeah.
Like you would never suspect this boring ass white piece of shit milquetoast.
Oh, because
turd.
Every military person is the most hilarious person you ever met.
I mean, I feel like military people are more. They have more personality.
There's a range. There's definitely a range of people.
Yeah.
Some have personality. Some don't.
Sucks.
I mean, Forrest is also a military guy, and he's he is something.
Make him the love interest of Buffy.
People would riot. She could be with a vampire, but not a black dude.
Oh, no. Yeah, before we started recording this podcast, everybody, we were like, well, let's try not to get canceled when we're talking about this Native American indigenous thing. And we're like making all kinds of bad jokes.
That would have been something.
Yeah.
That would have broke the internet.
So yeah, Riley's going back to Iowa. Harmony's in her cave and Spike rocks up to the cave and he's like, baby, I miss you. Please take me back. He's like wasted off of not eating. And she's like, no way. I will never take you back. I am not doing this. And Spike just grabs her and puts her in his arms. He carries her over to the bed and he starts like, he's moving his hands right on up them thighs. And
if he would have scored here, I was like, this is more aggressive than anything we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, this is the most manipulative. Like, yeah. I was more going to be like, man, Harmony, you.
Right?
You gotta stand. He stabbed you.
Well, she like also is like, it's seeming like she's having to debate with herself of like, should I? Oh, I shouldn't. Yeah. No, Spike, you shouldn't be here. And then she pulls up the covers from the bed and she pulls out a wooden stake.
Yeah.
And Spike just like, what the fuck? He rolls off the bed. He's like, you had that in our bed?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, you stabbed me with a fucking wooden spike. Why shouldn't I stab you? And he's like, babe. You wouldn't do that, would you? And then she's like, she like lunges at him and he's like, oh, fucking shit. Yeah. He just hightails it on out of there, which is great. So then Buffy has been sent to this church to talk to this guy named Father Gabriel, who we forgot to mention. Giles talked about him. He's like, hey, this guy might know. So Buffy's like, I'm going to go talk to this Father
Giles
Gabriel
knows
guy.
Everybody somehow.
Yeah. So she's walking around and she's like, Father Gabriel, you here? Father Gabriel. Like, you know, priests don't just like chill in churches 24/7.
They might live there. They might have a place that they live at the church or something. Like if the place has a place where people live. Yeah.
Well, but I think you would go. Is usually like attached to a church, but not like you walk into the church and if you start saying Father Gabriel, he's not going to hear it.
Well, we, the audience, need to know where she is and who she's looking for, so she has to scream it out.
Beautiful church. Yeah. Looks great. So she's walking around. She's like, can't find Father Gabriel. She takes a step outside and she sees the Native American spirit of vengeance with the hung Father Gabriel. And he's hung, and that's not good enough. The Chumash warrior also slits his throat and cuts off his ear, I guess, too.
Slitting someone's throat while they're hung is...
That's next level, dude. Yeah. And Buffy's like, oh my God, holy shit, what the fuck? And then she and this dude, his name is Hoos.
I just called him the spirit.
His name is Huss or Hoos or something. But they start fighting and they're going at it. And he reveals to Buffy that I am a vengeance spirit and I'm here to take revenge on all the evils that your people have done. And Buffy's like, I just fucking got here like 3 years ago, dude. Like, I didn't do it.
And this whole fight scene they have has the pan flute music in the background, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily a pan flute, but yeah, it definitely decided to make it more Native American and indigenous
quote
sounding.
Unquote. Yeah. Quote unquote Native American.
Indigenous, or at least, or not white.
Yeah.
They tried to put a little not white flavor into it.
So they're going at it, and then, he stops. They both stop, and he gives a speech about, like, I'm here to take vengeance. And then he crosses his arms over his chest. And becomes a bunch of crows that disperse.
I have a thought about this, but I'm going to save it for the next moment. Not the last moment, but the next moment that something happens. But
yeah. So, he burst into and usually, at least in vampire lore that I've seen, in vampire media that I've seen, vampires burst into a bajillion bats. We haven't seen that.
Only if they're like a little percentage Native American. That's what it is. If you're 1/8 Cherokee,
Native American,
if you're 1/8 Cherokee vampire, you can turn into a bat. That's what it is. That's what they don't tell you.
Okay, now it's all starting to make sense.
Yeah. Because Giles says in the next scene, it's common for Indians to turn into spirit animals or something.
Yeah, so Buffy goes to Giles's to debrief, and Giles throughout this episode thus far keeps calling them Indians.
Uh-huh.
And at a certain point in this conversation, Giles says Indians, and Buffy goes, it's actually Native American, Giles. We don't say Indian anymore. And Giles is like, bloody hell, if I fucking have a hard time keeping all this straight, somebody needs to give me like a pamphlet because I'm still calling you guys colonizers. So then then they start talking about like this Hoos guy is a vengeance spirit, and Giles is talking about like, well, we did perform a bunch of atrocities to the Native Americans, and it was not cool what the Europeans did. And Buffy's like, and I feel real bad about that, but this vengeance spirit is killing a bunch of people now, and that's not cool either. And then Willow shows up with a bunch of books about the Chumash people. And
she has a stack of books that is so large, it's comical. And I just had to think, is she a speed reader?
It's not even that the stack of books are large. It's like 8 or 9 books. And each of those books...
It's like 400 pages.
Dude, like 4,000 pages. They're huge.
Yeah.
They're like encyclopedias about these people.
And she's like, oh, I'm just going to read through this in a night.
I read every single thing about the Chumash tribe.
Yeah.
And what she found is that they were peaceful. They were peaceful people, and they never hurt a single fly. They never hurt anything. They would never do anything vengeful ever. And it was all us fucking white people when we came over, and we just did everything evil with our disease, with our pillaging, with our stabby. and while all of this is happening,
this shit is so wild.
There's a wolf watching from the window.
And is this wolf Angel? Is this wolf the Native American? How are we to know?
It is implied that it is the Chumash warrior vengeance spirit listening to Willow go rant and rave about how, like, we shouldn't even do anything. We should just let this spirit kill everybody. And Giles is like, I have to object. He's like, yeah, you know, what we did was bad. That was bad, but, you know, that's in the past. We can't do anything about that. But this dude is killing innocent people now.
Yeah.
Right now. And Willow's like, I'm okay with that. And this is where I was like, what?
This is where they're gonna try to do something here, and they're not gonna solve it. I'm like, we are gonna still fight this person at the end, aren't we? So like, you can argue all you want, but you're just gonna do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, Willow is like taking a weird, like, it's not a weird stance. It's an extreme overcorrection.
Yes.
Like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, look, we get it. You should be able to kill all of us. We deserve this. And, you know, rightfully so.
Yeah, that's fine. But logistically, it just doesn't. Like, are you going to just let them kill Buffy because of what happened? No.
Yeah, that's the thing. Are you going to let them kill you? Or are you going to let them kill, like, all of your loved ones, your family? Like, dude.
Yeah, where are you going to draw the line?
Also, it's not even like this spirit is alive anymore, you know?
Yeah.
I think Giles later in the episode is like, what do you fucking want us to do? Give it some land? Like,
it's like either him or Spike or something talk about giving it land. You think that's going to help?
Yeah. But yeah. And then Buffy's like, you know what? Fuck all this. I have a Thanksgiving feast to prepare. Okay. She goes into the other room, and Giles and Willow talk about, like, hey, I ran into Angel last night, and Giles is like, yeah, he's here. He's watching over Buffy to make sure she's safe. And they're like, you know? And he's like, you know? I should know. How come you know? And all that bullshit. Yeah. Then Anya and Xander arrive, and Xander is he's on death's doorstep, all right? He's looking bad. Anya has to, like, basically carry him into this joint.
Xander's the lucky one, man, because the other people are just getting straight up murked.
Yeah. So they plop Xander on the couch, and he's like, man, I really do not fucking feel good. So then we cut to Hoos, the Native American vengeance spirit, rummaging through the anthropology woman's case, or like some kind of museum. He's gathering a fuck ton of weapons that are in these, like, cases. Xander, then we go back to Xander talking about how, like, all of his symptoms don't connect. He went to the doctor. The doctor has no idea what's wrong with him. And he thinks, you know, it's something to do with the Chumash thing.
The doctor's like, I don't see any neck contusion, so I don't know. That's my specialty.
So he goes over all of his symptoms, and he's like, it must be something to do with that Native American vengeance spirit. And Willow's, you know, they're all talking about, like, all of Xander's symptoms, and Willow's looking them up, and she's like, this is consistent with, you know, a lot of the Chumash diseases that they died of. And Xander's like, well, what did they die of? And she's like, well, malaria, a little bit of smallpox, and syphilis. And Xander's like, syphilis? But it's like, he's so sad that he's got syphilis.
Yeah. Anya's great here. She's like, oh, the syphilis won't kill you. The smallpox will.
Yeah, she's like, it'll just make you blind and go crazy. The smallpox was what'll kill you. And then Buffy's like, dude, fuck this. Xander's about to die. We got to slay this vengeance demon. And Anya's... And then they all start bickering because Xander is like, yeah, it's a vengeance demon. That's what we do. We fucking kill vengeance demons. Yeah. And Anya's like, I'm a vengeance demon. Mm-hmm. And then Willow's like, no, we don't kill this demon because he's a fucking vengeance spirit from Native Americans. And then Xander goes to Anya's like, no, it's not you. Obviously
Giles is getting into Willow. And meanwhile, Buffy's just like staring a thing, and she's like staying out of it.
Yeah.
When really it comes down to what Buffy's going to do, because she's the only one that can fight it.
Yeah, exactly.
But she's so focused on Thanksgiving. Her friend is diagnosed with smallpox on the couch.
Yes.
She's still thinking about.
She's like, everybody shut the fuck up. We're going to have a nice, good old-fashioned family Thanksgiving.
We're making Joe's favorite mashed potatoes.
Ugh.
I love that you think mashed potatoes are bland, yet you get nothing on your burgers.
A good burger doesn't need anything. A good steak doesn't need steak sauce. A good burger doesn't need toppings. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
So then
you're wrong, but all right.
You're wrong.
Cheese is delicious.
I don't like cheese. Cheese on pizza and macaroni, mozzarella sticks. That's it for me.
Okay.
I just don't like cheese on burgers. I think it makes it taste bad.
All right.
I don't know why. If I get something on a burger, it's going to be egg and bacon. Va-va-voom. One time I got barbecue sauce and onion rings on a burger. That was also good. Anyway, so they get a knock at the door.
I can talk about your food stuff forever.
They get a knock at the door, and it is Spike. And it's also the middle of the day, by the way. This argument's taking place in the middle of the day.
Oh, man. The sun does not affect vampires.
No. The show needs to stop acting like it does, too.
Yeah. They all just need to be like, you know what? Vampires can walk in the sunlight when they want. They have to be on a beach. They have to be like on a beach.
They have to be in outer space hurtling towards the sun.
It makes no sense when you think all the way back to that episode where that vampire went into the school, took off the shawl, and burst into flames in the classroom. Yes. Just through the light from the windows.
Yeah.
Because Spike is in some daylight.
He's in daylight. He has his babushka still.
Yeah.
And he's like, please, I need your help. And they're like, why the fuck? What? Why would we help you?
This is the perfect time. Like, granted, I love him in this show. You don't want to kill the charismatic villain.
Yes.
But if you're them, push him and hold him into the sunlight.
Right?
And call it a day.
Fucking Buffy, do a This Is Sparta. Kick him right in the chest.
Giles,
right
you can do
sunlight.
it too. Because he can't come inside. Hit
exactly.
him, jump
He's
inside.
Like, invite me in. Yeah. Buffy's like, I'm more likely to kill you.
Yeah.
Then fucking do it. But Spike does have information.
Who cares?
You know what? Giles just needs to open one of his magic books that he flips open to the exact right page, and he'll have the exact same information.
Yeah, hold him in the sun. I bet you he talks. Like, yes. You have all the leverage.
Dude, I just...
like, I'm fine with him not, but like, it's too low-hanging fruit here.
Yeah. So he's like, please, I need your help. I can't eat. And they're like, I don't believe you. Why should we believe you? And he's like, ask Willow. I tried to bite her 2 nights ago and I couldn't do it. And then Willow's like, yeah, he had some vampiric performance issues.
She does see performance issues, so I loved. It's funny because he goes, Willow, tell him. And he's like, you said you were going to kill Buffy and kill me.
Yeah. Tell him what I told you the other night. Yeah. Well, he says that he can't bite anybody, he can't feed on anybody, and he can't even hit anybody.
Well, this is what the military dudes say in that scene. It's like, oh, we're fine. We can go home because he can't even harm anybody. And even in the flashback at the beginning, they were like, the implant works. He can't do harm to anyone. And I'm like,
living thing.
I was like, he beat the shit out of those people when he broke out of the prison.
Yep.
He was beating the shit out of some of you guys when he was fighting.
Yep.
He was definitely throwing and hitting Willow before he tried to fight her.
Like, he was beating up Willow.
I was like, I think he can still throw punches.
Yeah, like I don't know what the phrasing of all this is. Like,
yeah, we'll see.
But he's got info on the commando people. He went to their facility. He got all the information. Let me tell you all about it.
Yeah, they do not get any of that info tonight, though.
No, because we cut to the Native American vengeance spirit raising up other Native American vengeance spirits. He's got a bunch of weapons, and he raises up there were quite a few other people. It was like 8 to 10 of them. Yeah. And he's like, all right, everybody, we're going to go fucking beat up some people.
Now, this is the point I was going to bring up before. If Native Americans had these powers, they would have never... the Europeans would have never taken over America. Like, they're always mystical Native Americans with all these powers and forces.
Yeah.
No, like, you would have used those at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, I guess... Yeah.
If you have this kind of power, you're not getting taken over.
Yeah, I guess they're still susceptible to disease, man, or like guns.
But if you have vengeance spirits, what's stopping them from rising up sooner?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Like, you kill one tribe
to like their other warriors while they were getting attacked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Whatever.
This kind of thing happens in RRR too. A great movie that everyone should watch on Netflix.
Still haven't
it's
watched
amazing.
it. I promised you.
What? I thought you watched it. It's so good.
I still haven't watched it.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. I got too hooked on Chainsaw Man. All right.
You know, hooked on Chainsaw Man. Watch a live action for once.
I watched Violent Night. That was a good movie.
Watch RRR. Am I going to have to make that one of the Boys Watching movies so you watch it?
I mean, that's a good way to make me do it.
No, you watch it. You got a whole Christmas break to watch it.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, we watched Scrooge. It's on our Patreon. So
this podcast is off the rails already.
It really is. We're wasted.
I've had too much coffee today.
I've had none, but I'm tired.
Different spectrums of...
Yeah. So Spike is getting tied up to a chair, and he's like, oh, be careful. You're going to cut off my circulation. And Buffy's like, you don't have any circulation. And he goes, well, it still pinches.
They tied him up tighter than they tied Buffy up that one episode.
I know. Well, it's because Buffy's doing the tying this time around.
She's good at knots, I guess.
Yeah. So they talk about, the Native American spirit is probably going to go after authority figures. And they're like, oh, okay. And then Willow's still on her trip about like, I don't want to have to kill this Native American spirit. And Buffy's going around and like giving everybody cooking instructions.
Yeah. Anya's like half butter and then brandy. And he's like, do you have any brandy, Giles? And Giles is like thinking and having like Giles moments. And then Giles says, oh yeah, I have brandy. It's on the top of the shelf.
It's on the bookcase.
In the later scene, you see Anya go to get the brandy. That is the worst place to keep alcohol.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that Spike is like, can I have some brandy though too?
Can I have
That'd
some?
Be nice.
A little nip.
Like, can somebody please feed me, please?
He is amazing in this scene.
Oh, absolutely, he is. Because they're still bickering about like what they should do with the Native American spirit, and Spike is like, "Who gives a fuck?" He's like, "Been there. We fucking exterminated their entire fucking race. You think they're going to be satiated with just a plot of land?" I think that's when he says it.
Yeah, and it's like you killed them all. Like,
yeah. What can you say? What can you say that's going to make this spirit feel better?
Yeah. And this is what conquering empires do. They come in, they take over a place. It's like, he's not wrong. He's been alive for 126 years. I think he mentioned
something like that.
Yeah.
But he's like, that's the way of the world. It's dog eat dog. It's kill or be killed. And, you lucked out. You were on the kill side. Yeah. So be thankful.
And you could just see Buffy being like, this is the guy I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Oh man. And then Xander is also kind of like, it might be the syphilis talking, but fucking Spike's making a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then Giles is like, I made those same points a little earlier. And
and nobody seemed to give a fuck when the British guys, the old British guys, so we had to have a young British guy say it. And then Willow is all upset and she's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to the dean's place. I don't know why she's going to the dean's. I forget
because
why.
they think because he's like, oh, it's going after like authority figures. And they're like, oh, yeah, the dean of the school is definitely an authority figure of. Yeah.
So Willow's like, I'm going to go to the dean's place and make sure that he's protected. And Buffy's like, alone at night? And then Anya's like, I'll go with her. But also, I'm just a regular human woman now, too. Like, what are you going to do?
And then they're like, and then Xander's like, I'm going to go. And he's like, oh, maybe he could stay. If he dies, maybe I can eat him. Because I can eat a dead person. He's like, and I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So it's Willow.
Syphilis cleared up real quick.
Yeah. So it's Willow, a sick guy, and Anya. All are going to see the dean, who they think the spirit is going to go after.
Yeah.
While Buffy stays back and cooking. What?
Priorities, people.
Like, what are they going to do if they even get there and it's there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So also Spike is like sitting there and he's like, man, I'm fucking hungry. You said that you were going to feed me if I gave you this information. I gave you the information. When am I going to feed? Mm-hmm. And they're like, you just hold tight, mister. And then Spike says, you know what happens to vampires if they don't feed? And Giles turns around and is like, actually, I've actually always been quite curious about that. And then Spike goes...
Which, before you go into it, how as a watcher have they not run tests?
Exactly. Exactly. How does he not know?
The guy Kralik locked up and they let him loose. He's addicted to drugs and they let him loose on Slayers. You mean to tell me they never captured a vampire and just left him in a cage and said, let's see what happens if we don't feed it?
Yeah.
That's like the second thing you would do becoming a watcher.
Exactly. I was going to say that's like negligent that you don't have any idea what happens.
We have starved regular people of food to see what would happen. Like the watchers are like, I guess we'll just keep what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Spike reveals that if vampires don't feed, they become living skeletons. It's like something that you see in like an old Dust Bowl painting or some shit like that.
But less funny.
Yeah.
I do love that he's still like an evil bastard.
Yeah, it's great.
At one point, Buffy goes like, oh, maybe there's blood in the gravy. I'm like, there's not blood in gravy.
No.
It's just the juices and runoff of the... I was like, what is this meal?
Yeah. I'm also curious to see how they keep Spike fed throughout this.
I mean, I'm sure she could. Well, she knows how to go to the butcher shop. Remember, she fed.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
She knows. She knows how to get some blood.
She knows the hookups.
Yeah.
She saw Angel dapping up that guy.
Yeah. She actually used to feed him. She used to bring him paper bags full of blood.
Yeah. So out of nowhere, an arrow comes flying into Giles's house and almost hits Buffy, and they're all like, hit the deck, everybody. And Spike is still tied to the chair like, and Buffy's pleading with this Native American spirit. She's like, please, I know what we did was bad. We're sorry. We don't want to hurt you. We don't want to be hurt though either.
She says the worst line of the episode. You can have casinos now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, God. Buffy, that's your plea.
And
you haven't said anything in the debates, and this is your first line.
It's atrocious. It's atrocious. Like, the way that they're handling all of this is atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be a solution to the episode that satisfies both them wanting to preach the message of like, hey, the Native American thing is wrong. Like the takeover is wrong or whatever. That's their premise, right? and it's awful. But then Spike says, whatever you want, who cares?
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, sure. And then there needs to be like the vengeance spirit gets some vengeance.
Yeah. I guess they killed that priest.
Killed the priest. It killed the priest. It killed a lady. And then died again. Like, I just like, I don't know what the payoff is. I don't know it offhand or what should happen. But what does happen isn't really satisfying.
No, it's not.
And Angel being a part of this is just
That's
confusing.
what I was just about to say. In case you forgot, this is an Angel crossover episode, everybody. Someone that we haven't talked about in probably 45 minutes.
I think Angel shouldn't be in a theme episode. Like, maybe, unless it's a Christmas episode.
Yeah, so he can come and be mopey around Christmas again. Oh my God, dude. So, like, the Native American spirits are like breaking into Giles's house.
They don't break in for a while. They just keep shooting.
Well, they keep shooting inside, and Spike gets one like right into the chest, and he goes, "Hey, mate, watch the heart."
I was like, good. I was like, he's gonna die here.
Yeah, dude, he should have.
Why would they not keep shooting him? The whitest person in the room?
Exactly. He's fucking fluorescent. He's so white, dude.
They do keep shooting him, though.
They do. It's great. It's hilarious. It's really funny. It's a great sight gag.
Yeah.
So Anya, Xander, and Willow are like leaving the Dean's house, and they're like, well, the Dean seems safe, and they run into Angel, and Xander's like, Angel, he's evil again. And Angel's like, no, I'm here to protect. Why does everybody think I'm evil again? Like, what the fuck is this?
It's like, why not, dude? Why not?
Yeah. And Anya's like, oh, so this is Angel, huh? Yeah, he seems about how you described. He's very brooding, and she uses this insane word that I had to look up because I had no idea what it meant. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the wording. I just thought she's a big brooding guy. But
she says brooding, and then she says some other word like gorly or something, and I was like, what the fuck is that word? Because I watched this with closed captions on, so I don't really. There's some words that like Giles says that are like British slang that I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? But this time I was like, I don't even know what that means, but it just means like a person that is annoyed easily.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And so Angel gives them the info. It's like, hey, a bunch of the Chumash weapons are missing, and they're looking for authority figures, but to them, the authority figure means the strongest fighter, and everybody looks at each other. Buffy!
It's like, it's one of those classic, like, we need Buffy to be where she is so that it can go to get her there. But if she would have went to the Deans, they would have went to the house and been like, it's just Giles cooking. He's obviously not the man of the house.
So Giles is then on the phone. He gets a phone call from Angel.
I thought this was crazy. He's like, he tells them, hey, you guys hurry back to to Buffy's and Giles's place. I'm going to call them.
Yeah.
But the whole episode, he's been like, I don't want to give away that I'm here. Anyone could pick up the phone.
Yeah. Could be Buffy.
Why not have Willow call?
You could have one of those classic things like in the early seasons when he calls Buffy's phone and he just doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
But like Buffy picks up, hello, I'm in the middle of something. And you just hear Angel like.
Yeah, but like,
and
why
Buffy's
not have, why are they even making this phone call? Just get there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But Buffy sees the weapons chest that Giles has, and she goes for it, and she gets shot with an arrow.
In the forearm. And I don't think she can be able to use that arm anymore.
But she's a slayer.
Yeah.
But Spike has fucking like loads of arrows shot into him. He's like, can somebody help me?
He looks
like 4
so
arrows.
frustrated. It's so great.
He's like frustrated and like over it. He's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
So they're like, don't worry. Giles is like, don't worry, we've got backup coming. And Angel has like broken the chains off of a bunch of bicycles. And then you cut to Xander, Willow, and Anya like bicycling through this like lawn, and they have like this epic music playing under.
Yeah, it had a real like Stranger Things ET vibe to it.
Yeah,
and Xander is biking in the front, and he's doing pretty well for some dude with smallpox and syphilis and
malaria.
Yeah.
So then we go back to Buffy and Giles, and they've somehow got the weapons chest, and they're going through it. Mm-hmm. And then Xander arrives, and he attacks some spirit from behind. He like hits it over the head, and then Willow and Anya start attacking this one spirit with shovels. They're just whacking this spirit with the shovel. Hoos breaks in. Giles is fighting. Okay, so Giles has the weapon of choice that he has a mace, like on a chain, and he's like flailing this thing around. He flails and hits a guy with it, or he misses a guy with it, and it flails and it hits him. And this is a metal, dude. It's a metal spiky ball, and it whacks him right in the back. But like it's like a quick cut, like offhand thing.
He tried to edit away from it before he realized he just killed himself.
Yeah. Like, if this was a real mace, he would have fucking stabbed the shit out of himself.
Oh my god.
Buffy stabs a guy, and it doesn't kill him. And she's like, "Weapons don't kill these guys."
Well, that's the weirdest thing. She goes to stab the main guy in the chest because that's her go-to move, and it doesn't kill him. She's like, they won't die.
Yeah.
And then Angel shows up.
Oh, no. Before this, then Buffy gets slashed in the like shoulder with a knife by the main guy.
Yeah.
And then, then Angel shows up.
And snaps a dude's neck viciously. And that dude died. So then I was like, what are you doing? Snapping the necks to moves? Is that her weakness?
Yeah.
Like he comes in hard.
He snaps the dude's neck, takes a knife, throws it at another guy, and that guy fucking dies.
And then you got Willow and Anya beating the shit out of this guy with shovels. And they're like, why won't you die? I'm like, hitting someone in the arm with a shovel is not a way to kill someone.
Yeah.
And this is when you realize, the Native Americans didn't stand a chance.
No, yeah, exactly.
If they can't handle these girls.
Yeah, that guy is just like still on the ground like, ow, ow.
If they can't handle these girls and a Xander who's sick with multiple diseases, they had no chance winning.
Well, and then like somebody was about to attack Buffy with something, and that's the guy that Angel. And then this is perhaps my favorite, like 3 seconds of the show, like one of my top scenes ever. Giles is just getting his head bonked up against a wall, and he's like, oh.
He looks like he's in concussion protocol. Like he needs to be in concussion protocol at the end of this episode when he stumbles.
It's comical, dude.
It's just a close-up of his head just being slammed against the wall over and over. Like,
it's so funny though. It's so because it's like played up hilarious. Like it's slow. It's not like he's just like gagonk, gagonk.
Like this is the balance of like there's a real threat, like Buffy's getting shot, dude's getting their neck snapped, but then you got Spike with arrows sticking through him and him hopping on the chair to try to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And then the head slamming.
Yeah, and then so somehow in all of this chaos they discover that using the Chumash weapons against them will kill them.
Yeah, I think she got it and then she tried to cut him with it.
Oh yeah, she took the dude's knife, stabbed him with it.
And the thing about that is it seems like it's only that one vengeance spirit that you have to like, the main one.
Yeah.
It's like, you kill the main thing, the rest of them go away. So it's like he's the one that you can't kill without using the same weapon that brought him back to life, I guess.
So Buffy stabs this dude, and then this dude does his Native American spirit transformation shit, and he turns into a bear. And Spike is like, undo it!
What did you do? What did you do? Turn him into a bear.
Spike shitting his pants. I love it. He's like, what are you fucking doing?
And then we get the weirdest scene possible of like cutting between a real bear standing somewhere and then this fake bear.
Dude, the bear slaps the shit out of Buffy.
Buffy's like fighting a bear.
Xander throws potatoes at her.
It is so weird.
Yeah. And then Buffy, like, while the bear is distracted because Xander threw potatoes at it, Buffy, like, leaps and jumps and stabs the bear with the Chumash knife.
That knife's blade is like an arrowhead length. It's no way that blade would kill a bear.
Yeah.
It could turn into a bear.
But, dude, she stabs it, and then, like, all of the spirits disappear.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, whew, wow, that was crazy, huh? But Angel's still outside, and he's looking in like, that's my fucking girl. I always love this girl. Yeah. And Buffy's doing her best to not look outside to see Angel whatsoever. Like, it's so... And then Angel just kind of scurries away. That's the crossover. That's Angel.
She's been sensing him all the time, too. Like, she sensed him when he was in Giles' house. She sensed being watched. Like, their love is so strong that she can just sense when he's around.
Yeah. Remember when Buffy had like dream vision powers?
Yeah. What happened to that? She couldn't dream that Native Americans were coming back?
No. And Doyle couldn't fucking do it either. Doyle's vision had to do with the vampire.
She's in trouble. You really have to listen to the next the Angel episode, because there's a lot to unpack that we're gonna unpack there.
Yeah, I have things to say about that fucking Angel episode.
I'm mad at how long I feel like that podcast is gonna be. Because I also have a lot to say about that one.
I like these two.
It might be on the level of The Wish.
The companionness of these two episodes, I did not enjoy whatsoever. Like, it's funny to talk, like there's some funny stuff going on in here.
There's some really interesting stuff going on in the Angel episode that I think some stuff gets enlightened. Mm-hmm. I think some performances are great.
I think that it opens up a whole can of worms of other questions.
Oh yeah, this is we're going into like Marvel phase 4 or 5. Like it's like multiverse level stuff happening.
But to finish up this episode, after all the vengeance spirits disappear, after Angel disappears, scurries his way back to Los Angeles, the Scooby Gang all sits down around the table and they all start to have a lovely Thanksgiving dinner.
I'm happy they didn't do the traditional what they give thanks for. They kind of like speed through a thing, but like they don't go like around the table and do I'm thankful for this thing.
So Willow's there and she's like, I feel really guilty about having to kill all the Native American spirits. Like, well, as soon as they showed up, I started beating them with shovels.
No questions asked.
Yeah, and I feel like is it Spike that says like, yeah, all your fucking rootin' and tootin' and ranting and raving, and as soon as the chips were down, you fucking grabbed that shovel and started beating them up. You're a real piece of shit, Will. Which I was like, that's a very fucking good point. And then Spike, one of my favorite quotes of the episode too, says, yeah, and you think there's an entire siege, you'd think one of you would bleed a little.
Buffy got shot. Buffy was bleeding. Yeah. And we know that Buffy blood is good.
Dude.
That's good eating.
That's healing blood, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Xander's syphilis now is clearing right up. He pats Anya right on the back. He's like, so, it's on the table for tonight, babe.
And she doesn't like give him she doesn't look at him. And I want it to be a moment of like her shrugging his arm off her shoulder or something. Cause she's still a little pissed off about the vengeance demon.
Well, I thought that when Xander initially finds out that he gets syphilis, I thought that he was going to look at Anya and be like, syphilis? Like, who you been fucking, lady? But yeah, so Xander's like, yeah, my syphilis is all cleared up. We can get to doing some hanky-panky. And then Willow's like, this was actually kind of nice. All of us working together, to fight off an evil. It was kind of nice. It was nice. It was like back in the old days. And then Xander goes, yeah, it was like especially cool with like everybody back here, even Angel here. And then, the forks drop. Clank, clank, clank.
Yeah. I love that you're providing sound effects for this.
I got a spoon right now.
We'll layer those all in, so it sounds like they're clattering.
And then it cuts to Buffy, and Buffy was like looking down, and then she looks up like, what? And then it has this weird wide-angle fisheye view of everybody looking over at Buffy, and Spike.
Spike. Spike's smirk is amazing. Like, he's not even like, oh, Angel was here? I didn't even notice. He looks at Buffy like, ha ha.
Yeah. Oh, okay, you're not going to feed me, huh? Well, here's one for you, bitch.
Yeah, because Buffy was complaining about, oh, this Thanksgiving was ruined and whatever. He's like, well, we're all alive. Like, Willow's like, we're all alive and we're all together. Mm-hmm. And I will say this. I just thought about this when we're watching it. Xander spilling the beans on Angel being there kind of makes up for the non-conflict of him not telling her about Angel getting his spirit back.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he doesn't spill the beans right here, she never even knows he was there.
Yeah.
Which, depending on what you think of the next episode of Angel, is a good or bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like because there was no conflict from him, like, not telling.
Yeah.
Her. Like, it seemed like a dick move, but it never amounted to anything.
Yeah.
Because she knew he would turn when she stabbed him.
I really thought that there was going to be some comeuppance for that, but now we're like 2 seasons away from that moment.
We're way too far. He's not even in the show anymore.
Yeah. But
I think this makes up for it. Him spilling the beans, being a goofball here. Yeah,
that's a good point.
I'm gonna give him a point for his love of Jell-O saved a school from being poisoned, and his nonsense here. I mean, he's just coming out of a daze of diseases. Like, he can't keep track of everything.
That's very fair. That's very fair. That is it for the episode, everybody. That is Pangs. Next episode, Vance, is titled Something Blue. Who's getting married?
I did see the thumbnail for this. It looked like either the demon that Faith had killed or the demon that which I got confused for the demon that Anya gets her powers from. Oh,
that Anya was like begging for her powers back.
Yeah, which, I mean, that happened and we never found out anything about that demon. Like she has people above her. So I think this might have something to do with that, because I think we're gonna do something with the vengeance spirit thing, that comment that Xander made about her being a vengeance spirit and her catching feelings for it. I feel like that's going to be a little bit of a drama thing. And Something Blue does have to do with like traditional wedding stuff. So
yeah, that's why I was like, this has to do with somebody's got to have to something borrowed, something blue, something new, or whatever.
If Anya wants to stay a real girl, she has to get married.
Oh, bro. That's a good... She's got a, like, green card demon.
Because we know the demons are really into Christianity and Catholic traditions. And yeah.
Well, that is it, everybody. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. We didn't have any shout outs today, so if you want to get a shout out, leave a Apple Podcast rate and review. I haven't gotten any DMs about the Spotify ratings or anything, so that's on you guys.
The Spotify people are just so cool, man.
Yeah, they're
so chill. They're so chill. They're like, yeah, man, I don't need a shout out. I'm all right. I'm just enjoying the show.
Yeah. So if you want to shout out, rate and review, sign up for our Discord. Our Discord link is in the show notes. And I want to give a little reminder to everybody. Let's keep things civil in the Discord. Sometimes Discord gets a little contentious. And, I've been a part of it. I've I've been a part of the contention sometimes.
Joe, it's like, this is a message for me not to rile things up.
Yeah, I've been a part of it. Yeah. I've gotten swept up in some things involving Anya. We've moved past it, but
it's a fun. We talk about there's an Angel section in there. There's an Buffy section. There's a full spoiler section for Buffy, so that you guys can go and we never see any of that stuff. So you guys can chat amongst yourselves.
Yeah, you can talk about how much dumbasses we are with our predictions and takes on all this stuff that we have no idea that are coming down the road yet.
There's
a bunch of other stuff too. Yeah, general. There's like an anime section that I made for if you want to talk about anime.
He doesn't watch any live action. He doesn't watch any of my live action recommendations.
Yeah,
I've even watched an episode of Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, I started watching Spy Family. It's pretty delightful.
Hey, start watching some RRR.
Okay. So there's that in the Discord. Follow the Instagram at Boys Watching Buffy. If you want to email in, it's boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. Again, sign up for our Patreon if you want to hear our take on this next fucking Angel episode,
and definitely sign up for the movie because the Scrooged podcast is...
Yeah, that's top tier. Top tier.
Yeah, it's exclusive level stuff.
And that wraps it up, everybody. Thank you once again to all of our listeners, and stay tuned next time for when we talk about something blue.
Undo it!
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.